Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, heroes in a half shell, turtle power. Yeah, next we have, from 1987, we have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now these guys were really popular from 1987 until 1996. And the Turtles are still around to this day. Yep, 4 brother turtles, they're ninjas, and they fight the evil Shredder and the Foot Clan. I'll get to this toy in a moment. Yeah, these turtles, these are not from the 80s, but they are replicas of what the toys from the 80s would have looked like. Yeah, the 1988 original series. I got this from GameStop. Let's read the back. Catapulted from indie comic origins to superstardom by the original animated series that ran from 87 to 96 and ranked #1 in ratings for an unprecedented 5 straight years. Featured in over 198 episodes, the fun-loving, shell-kicking teens are still recognized around the world and celebrated by fans with every bite of pizza. Here we have the 4 turtles. Let's go over them. Here we have Leonardo. He was the leader of the turtles. Here we have Raphael. Yeah, he was cool but rude. Michelangelo. He was a party dude. He was a lot of kids' favorite turtle from what I've heard online. And here we have Donatello. He's the tech whiz of the turtles. Yep. I don't have a lot of Turtles toys. I'm working on collecting some more, but what you see here, this is all I got. Now let's go over this playset. This was released in, I believe, 1990. This is the Technodrome. It's incomplete. I'm in the process of restoring it. Yeah, I'm missing a door here. I'm missing guns. I'm really glad to have this eyeball. This thing is nearly hard to find. Yeah, the Technodrome was the headquarters of the evil Foot Clan. He's run by Shredder, the Turtles' enemy, and Krang, an evil alien brain from Dimension X. The Technodrome was huge. Like, it reminds me of Spaceship Earth from Disney. Yeah, this toy opens up. Let's open this up. And the eyeball falls off. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, as you can see, the Technodrome, it's not complete. I have a lot of work I gotta do with this. I have Ralph and Vanellope there from Wreck-It Ralph, and what's supposed to be the jail cell. I don't have the doors yet. Yeah, I have a lot of work to do with this toy, but when I do restore it, I'll give it a proper review. Put the eyeball back on. The eyeball does not stay up there pretty well, so yeah, that's why this thing is hard to find, the eyeball. Yeah, basically here would be Krang's workstation. Down here, this would be the ammo area. Here's what Shredder's control station. Down here is where anyone could be mutated. Yeah, here's the bridge. You know, you could have 2-foot soldiers in these seats controlling guns that I don't have here. You have the steering wheel to control the Technodrome, but also the steering wheel spins the eyeball radar dish. And this is a pretty cool feature. Open this up. Get the eyeball facing this direction. Pull it up. No, pull it down. And the eyeball can knock down any turtles that are in the way. Yeah, the Turtles had a lot of action figures, I'll say that much. But they were pretty popular. I bet any kid who owned the Technodrome growing up probably had some good stories to say about it. So, well, that's all the Turtle stuff I have. I guess I should move on now. Okay, this is going to be a really quick thing, since I don't really collect these toys. I just happened to stumble upon these at a McDonald's last year. Yeah, I mainly buy these for my mom, usually, because she loves these. My Little Pony, My Little Pony. Yeah, these are My Little Ponies. Yeah, My Little Pony has been around since the early 80s, and is still going on to this day. Here we have Fluttershy and Applejack. Yeah, Applejack is some sort of cowgirl or something, and based on this hat. Whenever I hear her name, I think of the cereal, Applejacks. Yeah. We have Fluttershy. She's, like, really shy. She loves animals. in some regards, she reminds me of myself because I'm a pretty shy person around people. So yeah. Yeah, basically the gimmick with My Little Ponies were, well, not these toys exactly, because these are Happy Meal toys. The toys are, like, soft, they were huggable, girls would play with them like they were just normal doll, like you'd have a comb, you could comb their tails, comb their hair. Yeah, that's what you would do with them. They had a few cartoons. Yeah, the original and the Generation 4, which is what these are from, are probably the most popular of the ponies. Yeah. And My Little Pony has one of the strangest phantoms I've ever seen. Yeah, it's probably the only girls' toy line I know that has like 30 old men watching this show. No joke. Yeah. If you know what a brony is, you know what I'm talking about. Let's just move on, because I really don't have a lot to say about this. Okay, you can't talk about popular Christmas gifts without talking about video games. Well, these aren't exactly from the 80s. These are replica. These are replica consoles of what the console looked like in the 80s. These are the mini consoles. I'll discuss the mini consoles in a moment, but for now, we'll just talk about what their big counterparts would be. We have the Nintendo Entertainment System, released by Nintendo in 1985. This was around from 1985 until 1995. The NES was a popular game system. Every boy and girl wanted to own one of these, more or less, unless you had a Sega Master System, which they don't make a mini console for that, but I'm not going to get into that. But if Nintendo wasn't your thing, in 1989, Sega released the Sega Genesis. Yep, it was packed in with Altered Beast, and in 1991, they repackaged it with Sonic the Hedgehog. The Sega Genesis was a 16-bit console, while the NES was only 8-bit. Now, what does that mean exactly? That basically means the graphics on this are a little nicer. Now, the Genesis was sold to be like an arcade-type machine. But also, in 1991, Nintendo released the Super Nintendo. Yep, it was packaged with Super Mario World. Yeah. Yeah, Sega and Nintendo were huge rivals in the 90s. Yeah, Genesis had the Genesis Does What Nintendo Don't campaign. Yeah, saying the Genesis has blast processing. Super Nintendo doesn't. Now, what does that mean? That basically meant that the Genesis could run faster. Don't get me wrong, I love the Genesis, but I just prefer the Super Nintendo more. The controller is a little more comfortable to play. Now, talking about these, I'm going to talk about the mini systems, which are what these are. Yeah, back in 2016, Nintendo released this thing, the Nintendo Entertainment System Mini, or the NES Classic as it was called, had like 30 classic original Nintendo games built inside. Yep, this thing was the must-have Christmas gift for a gamer that year. But unfortunately, Nintendo didn't make enough of these, and scalpers bought them all, and they were selling them online for like $150, $200, maybe even $300, and people were paying that. Nintendo vowed not to make the same mistake with the Super Nintendo Classic, which came out a year or two later. I'm going to say 2 years later. Yeah, the NES Classic costed $60, this costed $80, because it came with 2 controllers, and the selling point with this was you got Star Fox 2, which was never released at that point. Yeah, the Super Nintendo I have inside here, because I'm not using it at the moment. And here's all the games you could have gotten with it. Yeah, we got awesome games like Super Mario World, we got Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, Contra 3: The Alien Wars, Star Fox, F-Zero, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. And probably one reason a lot of people bought this was to play Earthbound. Earthbound is a weird RPG released in 94, 95. It didn't sell very well. It's considered one of the best RPG games ever made. The cartridge itself sells for like hundreds of dollars on eBay. And we have Star Fox 2, which was never released. Star Fox 2 was finished, but it was never released because the Nintendo 64 was coming out. And Nintendo wanted to show off all these brand new games for that, and they made a Star Fox game for that. Yeah, I got this for around 90. Yeah, I got this for my big brother for his birthday, but he doesn't use it much, so basically it's my system. And now we have, released this year, we have the Sega Genesis Mini. Ignore this little tear in the box here. I did not do that. The box came like that. I bought this used off eBay for like 60 bucks. I probably should have waited till Black Friday to buy it because it was 50, but whatever. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Yeah, you got 40 classic games. Now, the Sega Genesis Mini has been released many, many times throughout the years. This is the first one that Sega actually did that was any good, because they got a good company to make this, because before then we had the At Games Sega, which was horrible. It had 80 games in it, but only 40 were Genesis games, and the other 40 like crappy computer games or whatever. So yeah, we got awesome games like Castle of Illusion, Echo the Dolphin, Castlevania Bloodlines, you got Sonic 1 and 2, Sonic Spin... Okay, Sonic Spinball's not a good game, but that's on here. Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, we got the Phantasy Star games, Contra Hardcore, we got Earthworm Jim, which is better on the Genesis. We got Vector Man, Toe Jam and Earl. And never released before on the Genesis, we have Tetris and Darius. Darius was an arcade game. You know, it had 3 screens. The first time you could ever play it on TV, I guess. And Tetris. This is one of the rarest Sega Genesis games ever made. Reason why is because Sega didn't have the rights to Tetris. No one knew who had the rights to them. So only 12 copies of this game exist, and it goes for like $1 million. Well, for only like $70, which is what this costs to retail, you can play Tetris. You can play $1 million game. I have played it. It's Tetris, that's for sure. Moving on. Another video game console that was very popular was the Nintendo Wii. This is the system that got grandparents playing video games. It used motion controls. I don't have the Wii remote on me at the moment. I have it buried somewhere. But basically, it had this like remote control. Do I have... here's a Wii remote. I have a Wii remote right here. Yeah, it also came with a nunchuck. Yeah, there's no batteries in this right now, but yeah, this is a pretty cool remote at the time. I remember I wanted this after seeing Burger King toys of the Wii. Yeah, Burger King made toys based off the Wii, and I thought they were cool, and I wanted one. And around 2008, I want to say, is when my family got one. Yeah, this was the must-have Christmas gift from 2006 until 2010, I want to say. Like, for the longest time, this was impossible to get. Yeah, this is near impossible to get. Everyone wanted one of these. Here we have GameCube controller ports, as well as a GameCube memory card, because this thing is backwards compatible with the GameCube. It came with Wii Sports. I don't have Wii Sports anymore. I sold it, but yeah, Wii Sports was the packing game. It was totally awesome. I remember playing the bowling game a lot. Yeah, this was an awesome console. There's over 1,000 games for this. Still, most people will tell you that the Wii had a lot of shovelware, which basically meant, well, there were plenty of good games for the Wii. There were a lot of bad ones, too. You know, I know someone on YouTube who has like a complete Wii collection, and he admits that 1/3 of the system's library is really bad games. But that does not mean this is a bad system. No, it's a pretty cool system. I really love it. Now, there were times in my life where I did hate it because it wasn't the PlayStation 3. But I do enjoy it. I do go back to it every now and then.